How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TableTakes, the only Gen Con sponsored tabletop board gaming news show. We are joined by my wonderful, beautiful, lovely co-hosts, Peter Adkison, Noir Enigma, and Banzai Baby. Banzai, how you doing? How's this week been for you?
I'll be honest, not great. It's both a blessing and sadness coming out for me. Basically, Sunday, my 13-year-old dog Buckaroo ended up passing away.
No.
Unfortunately, he was a good dog. I'm glad we were there for him. I think this is like my first dog that I actually had pass away with me, and I was able to say goodbye. So that was like a new big thing. But I'm happy because he lived a long, good life. He went so fast he didn't even realize. He's just like, oh, all right, time to go. He got all of the treats. He got extra spoiled. And it's sad, bittersweet. But I just think it's good because maybe his ghost. I'm hoping his ghost is just gonna be haunting me for a little while. That's all you can ask for.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds sweet. I'm really sorry that happened, but I'm glad you're taking it so well. Peter, how about you? How you been this week?
Well, I am broadcasting today live from a hotel room in Reno, Nevada, because I was down here attending the Gamma Expo, where I got to go around the exhibit hall and make a pitch for the first time since 2007, a pitch about drumming up some business for Gen Con TV. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of people were very encouraging, excited to see me, out hustling, old Peter Adkison style. And so it was a lot of fun, I got to say, but I'm really looking forward to getting back home tonight because I miss my wife.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she misses you too. And we missed you this whole week, Peter. I remember this week on Actoroki, we didn't have you by our side at the studio. We were all together. We didn't see you this week. I'm so sorry you couldn't make it. But thanks for all the hustling you're doing for Gen Con TV. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you were one of the key reasons we were even able to bring tabletops back. Table takes. Did I say tabletops? I meant table takes. Thank you, Peter.
My pleasure.
And Noir, can't forget about you, buddy. How you been?
Hey, I've been all right. It's been a busy week. Like I said, getting accustomed to the new job, which is always fun. We've got a fun episode of Morning Ritual with Kate Bullock of Magpie Games, and I filmed our first section of Fragmented Destinies, which is a TTRPG actual play that I'm running, where all the players are playing sextuplets. So they're all related. So
Wow.
it's been an interesting week full of work and storytelling, and I'm just having a good one.
That's awesome. Is it recorded somewhere?
Yes, it's gonna be on the Cookout TTRPG Twitch channel. We've got a fantastic cast. We've got Galiza, we've got Eliza Pearl, we got Kira. It's gonna be a blast on Cookout TTRPG. You'll find it on my Twitter at some point. And they're all playing Clash Star, so they're playing a race that can that has telepathy. So they're siblings that can talk to each other in their minds. It's been very funny to see how people can be petty with that feature.
That's really awesome. I don't know a whole lot about Clash Star, but I have heard of them and they sound really, really cool. So this week, last week I talked about how I had started my job and everything was going real great, but it wasn't a good fit. So I decided instead, I'm going to run away to Mexico or maybe Germany. I haven't decided exactly where yet, but I'm just going to do some traveling instead. Because we're doing this over Zoom, I can kind of just, work from home wherever I go. So I'm going to take a page out of Peter's book and maybe I'll visit Vegas. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the road takes me.
That's going to be exciting. You could do a map and then have a dart and then just throw it.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
There you go.
Yeah, or could I borrow your wheel and I can just spin the wheel and see which
spit where you're gonna go.
You have to be careful. If you take a globe and spin it and throw the dart, you'll probably end up in the ocean.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, that's like what's like 60-70% water.
So,
Yeah. Well, let's just hope that wherever I go, I continue to find great news for us to talk about. Speaking of which, we've got headlines to tell y'all about, starting with Peter. Peter, what is in the zeitgeist?
well, it's my pleasure to report about the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America's Nebula Award Finalist announcements. If you're not familiar, 57 years, this has been the premium awards program for writers of fiction, fantasy, and science fiction. And they have a lot of finalists. There's over 40 of them. Don't panic. I'm not going to list them all. I will list the finalists for the novels. The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke, Master of Jin by P. Jelly Clark, and Machine Hood by S.B. Divya, A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martin, and Plague Birds by Jason Sanford. But I think of more interest to our particular community is that they have a category for awards in game writing. And this year, there are 5 nominees from this, and they're all really fascinating. I'm glad I'm not a judge that has to try and pick one of these because they all sound great. One is Coyote and Crow. Now, Coyote and Crow is designed by an indigenous creative team. It is set in a post-apocalyptic version of Americas that were never colonized. Now the world is emerging from this great ice age, and you set out to discover the lost worlds beneath the ice. Mm-hmm. Another one is Wander Home. This is a 2021 indie darling, they say, from Possum Creek Games that melts pastoral fantasy and GM-less storytelling into a world marked by post-war trauma. It sounded so peaceful right up to that last bit, didn't it? So, okay, that sounds good. There is also Thirsty Sword Lesbians, comes primarily from the mind of designer April Kit Walsh, in collaboration with many women and non-binary artists who wanted to create a game that leaned hard into sapphic romance, big swords, and bigger emotions. And finally, Grandma's Hands. Now, this is a reimagining of the golden age of comics to include Black heroes that should have been, or maybe were, but were obscure and weren't well publicized given the time period. Exploring stories and adventures, like hard-boiled detectives and fighters against fascism and protectors of overlooked communities. Also sounds like an excellent read.
Yeah, I know I've heard of Wander Home, but I definitely haven't heard of Grandma's Hands. Do you know what that title is from or what that means? Not entirely.
No, I don't.
I think Noir said something while we were.
Yeah. I believe that not alludes to, but Grandma's Hands is the name of one of Bill Withers' songs. But you might recognize the tune more as the sample from Blackstreet's No Diggity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
there you go.
I'm embarrassed that I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's great. And as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I know what part you're talking about. I know what part of the song. One of the names that, yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, it's that humming. It's iconic.
Yeah, it's iconic. So great. One of the names that really, for the nominations for the Game Writing Awards that I personally am very excited to see is the Coyote and Crow, because we actually had them on Gen Con doing a whole, they did a whole playthrough. That was I believe, we did our most recent charity stream. Of course, Kelsey, they helped us out arranging that. Big props to them. And it was great because we got to see such lovely human beings and doing what they love doing. And it's, I just gotta, it's also such a name, Coyote and Crow. Just doesn't it just ease coolness to you? Also, not gonna lie, Thirsty Sword Lesbians, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah.
I've heard so many good things about it, but I've never actually played it. Doesn't seem like it's made for me.
Well, it's made for everyone. You don't have to be that way or anything like that. It's just It's a fun game that gets you in touch with your emotion. I haven't played it myself, I will admit. I have just watched people like do plays of it, so that's really
Yeah, I actually haven't played it yet, but I do have it. And I have seen a couple of playthroughs of it, and it's a fantastic game. So yeah, I mean, maybe one day we'll play that. Maybe that's the way we'll do it.
Maybe I'll watch somebody play it first. Maybe get a good idea of how it handles before I jump into it. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for that headline. Congratulations to all of the games that were nominated. Moving on, we've got Alien RPG novels coming out pretty soon, produced by Free League. So yeah, Dicebreaker just came out with an article detailing all of the upcoming novels that are going to be tie-ins to the Alien RPG. So the Alien tabletop RPG, if you don't know, is really just it's a inspired by the movies and the comics. Sorry, not comics. Well, I'm sure there are comics too, but novels that already exist. And it gives you a chance to play in that world, either in a cinematic way, sort of reenacting some of the movie scenes or book scenarios, or coming up with your own scenarios and jumping into the sci-fi world of it in your own sort of way. It comes with a stress mechanic that sort of simulates the fear or maybe like the terror that might be sinking in as you're playing in the depths and the dark of unknown creatures and the biomechanics of strange aliens that seem to only want to cause mayhem. But as some of you might know, I've already played this. I know Banzai's played it as well. I don't know. I don't think Noir's played it. I think maybe Peter has played it before. But it is a phenomenal game. It's really fun. And even though I hate horror, I actually really enjoyed playing it because, well, we had a great GM for one thing, Derek Gooder, always amazing to play with. But also, it is designed really well to play not only in person but also over Roll20. So it's very accessible, I'd say, and it introduces a lot of really cool new mechanics. With the new novels that are coming out, it's going to be focused on the sci-fi universe of the Alien series, but it's going to have more of a cohesive narrative that's supposed to be shared across all the novels and the RPG. Not only are you getting the books, but they come with scenarios that you can use in your games that you might be playing. So it could be a fun way of starting a book club for people who love horror sci-fi RPGs. The events are going to be building on the Frontier War campaign that was introduced in the RPG's Colonial Marines Operations Manual source book and the political crisis on Earth in the novel that came out last year, Alien into Charybdis. The crossover is going to continue next month in Alien Colony War, written by David Barnett. And in July, we're going to get the second one. It's going to be called Alien Inferno's Fall by Clara Saria and Philippa Ballantine. And the last one is coming out in February next year, 2023, Alien Enemy of My Enemy, written by Mary Sangiovanni. And I think it's going to be a really cool addition to the already huge content swarm of Alien RPGs lore, but it's also going to give a lot more options for players who are already playing the game and for GMs who are already running these campaigns. So I think it's a really cool addition, and I think that Free League has already done some amazing work, so it's bound to be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I might have been in the same game with you with Gooder.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah. I remember playing with Gooder too. I mean, it was great. He's a great DM, and he ran that Alien game that I remember that you had to like one of the things was you had to have a place that was your special place to go to if you were afraid and you were like,
oh yeah.
And mine was my locker. So like when I came fear, I actually went to my locker and opened it and climbed inside and closed it.
Yeah, I think I had a little book that it's like my comfort zone book that I would read.
Yeah. I think my character was drugs. It sounds
drugs.
terrible.
Oh yeah.
Drugs.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's great. I especially because like they have been handling they have been handling this like franchise of xenomorphs, if I'm correct. Xenomorphs is the whole
Right.
encompass of this, and they've been handling it quite well. And I like that they're expanding with like a book source that can get you in the mood, or your players into the mood, and then you get to play the scenario. Like I like that combo of like, I mean, kind of hint of other like games that are, especially because it's very hard to play horror, but hey, maybe having like a book and then co-opting that with an adventures guide or like a adventures module just seems like a really golden idea, just saying. And I like it because it gets you in the mood and in the proper mindset, and like so you can be just as most famously like Javion, when we played it, just able to scream at a drop of a piece of paper.
Yeah, well, it was very tense. It was a very tense atmosphere that we created. So I literally just got startled because we were in that state, because I hate horror. I told you this many times, and you wouldn't believe me when you saw me drop kick Marcus's character into an alien that was, I think I'd lit on fire with a flamethrower. That was definitely one of my favorite moments in any RPG I played. It was very badass. Thanks, Marcus. So yeah, definitely keep your eyes open for any Alien RPG stuff that's coming out pretty soon. It's sure to be a hit. Speaking of hits, we've got another franchise that's already been a hit, getting a little bit of an update. Noir, would you tell us more?
Yeah, I mean we're going real cinematic here, so I'm gonna do my movie trailer voice. In a world, no, in Jurassic World, the legacy of Annual Nebula, you play through 12 adventures in which you can customize an entirely unique game board and breed new dinosaurs you cannot unmake. So whatever you do, you're stuck with it. Your team's fateful choices will have lasting impacts, creating your own Isla Nublar story. Your experiences will culminate in an endlessly replayable game of your own creation. So welcome to Isla Nublar, where you and other scientists, streamers, and schemers will build an attraction like no other. Take on the role of visionaries John Hammond and Simon Maserani, visiting scientists Dr. Alan Grant, Dr. Ellie Sattler, and Dr. Ian Malcolm, sharp-minded park personnel Claire Deering, and Dr. Henry Wu, and many more, each playing a vital part in the island's legacy. This seems to be a extraordinarily cinematic, customizable, and replayable game. I do know that there is one of us here on TableTakes that has a lot more experience with legacy games, and I would love to hear a little bit more about that, because just from the blurb that I'm reading, I am heavily intrigued to try this game out.
All right. Oh yes. So hey, I'm the person. I'm just gonna jump right in. So I have experienced a lot of various different legacy games. Most recently, we did the Plague game. Oh shoot, I can't remember now. I'm blanking out. But basically, Pandemic, yes, Pandemic legacy games. I have also Machi Korogo legacy as well. How Legacy's game works is that there are a certain number of scenarios. They usually either come with stickers or things that you just basically destroy or put away in a different pile. Once the moves that you have made are made, and at the end of the game, you either subtract cards or mark that area permanently. So when you play your next game, that is a significant thing. So like, for example, in Pandemic, you have more bases, like cure bases. If you happen to cure the disease, you have more shops and like stations that you can distribute vaccines and everything like that. Or in another example, if you lose to the disease, you have areas in which countries are wiped out. You just don't have people there anymore. So that's like kind of how it is. You can also permanently change the game board with legacy games. So like you either have bonuses that help you or hinder you when you play your next game. It's a game that continuously builds on itself. And a ton of legacy games also have a lot of extra like gimmies of stickers and stuff. So you can like be like, all right, this is how it's changed. They also have blank spaces and cards, so you can make up powers and stuff that happen to be like, it's just a game that grows and develops with you over time is really what the legacy games.
That's really awesome. I know that there's an Arkham Horror one, and there's one based on Betrayal on House of the Hill. I thought somewhere I read that there's a Fast and the Furious one, but that could just be me really wanting that to exist. So, Google to see if that's true or not. If it is true, then please somebody send it to me so I can live my life a quarter mile at a time. But other than that, that's everything that I'm thinking on this topic. Is there any other input? Peter, I know that you said that you have a favorite legacy game.
Yeah, I'll put in a lobby for Charterstone by Stonemaier Games. I think it's just brilliant. It's got this beautiful sort of anime style look to the board game, and it starts off pretty simple and then it just keeps layering on. It does have changes to the map, which is the board surface, which is pretty typical in legacy games. But it also, every game for about the first 7 or 8 out of 12 games introduces a new mechanic, and so it gets more and more complex and interesting, but you kind of got to learn it, game by game, so it's not overwhelming trying to do it all at once. It's an outstanding legacy game, and by the way, it exists on Steam, so you could play it or iOS, so you could play it over and over legacy style as many campaigns as you wanted to, and I've played several.
Oh, smack. Oh, now we know. Now we have somewhere else to look. I hope they have the Jurassic Park one on Steam too, because it's hard to get friends together these days.
Yeah, especially with like legacy games, having something digital just makes it replayable. I think I haven't had a lot of experience with Jurassic Park in general, but I know that Prospero Hall has already done the Choose Your Own Adventure game series, with one being, I think, a haunted mansion, and another one being a weird sci-fi adventure. So now they're going prehistoric with a legacy game with an IP that's already very widely known. So I've already played through some of the Choose Your Own Adventure games, and I know that they can really bring a lot of content from the creators that they have published with. And this definitely looks like the kind of game that really would be awesome to play as like a legacy game, because I can already see myself just figuring out which dinosaurs are going to be in the area, sort of tracking them or avoiding them, whatever the case may be.
Well, maybe like in a lot of legacy games, you're building the community. Maybe in Jurassic World, you start with this community, then every legacy game, you find out what the dinosaurs have destroyed in that game until by the end, there's just this desolate wasteland.
Yeah, I don't know if
nowhere to hide.
Is Jurassic Park more about like hunting or like avoidance, or maybe creating dinosaurs? I'm not really sure.
All I know is this: in the real world, there's only one smart decision that when it comes to Jurassic Park: don't go, don't go, don't go to Jurassic Park.
Avoid it. Got it.
Honestly, like, this is totally not really the topic, but some zoo people actually went in and studied Jurassic Park, and actually it's just bad zoo practices in general is what happened to you joke, but like I sat there and actually went and looked at it. It's the carnivore where the T-Rex was, that exhibit was too small for that size animal and it needed more space. That's the problem. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I love it. One of my favorite things is experts watching movies being like,
Yeah.
I call it the Neil deGrasse Tyson. But anyway, that's Jurassic Park Legacy. But I do believe we have something else coming up here. Javion?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a company who you certainly won't be able to avoid. Peter, you can tell us more about this one.
Yeah, I'll talk a little about. Speaking of big giant companies that can devour everything in their path, so Asmodee USA announced recently that they were picking up distribution for new English language games from Modiphius, the Elder Scrolls board game, and Spectre. Yes, that Spectre from 007. Also, Parabellum's line of Conquest and Undead Faction skirmish miniatures games. several Marvel and Disney property games from Spin Master that previously had not been available for sale in the hobby game trade. So that's good. Skytier Games, a card-driven minis game inspired by Battle Arena. And Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy's Too Thin Coats paint line. Yeah, okay. That was a bit of a tongue twister. But so reason I wanted to talk about this, though, is kind of like, let's recap a little bit about Asmodee, because it's an incredible story. It was, Asmodee is arguably the most successful company in the history of tabletop games, at least our types of games, hobby games. And it was started in 1995 by Mark Nunes and Kroc and a bunch of other guys. And they had some early successes of their own, including Jungle Speed, and then they became the Pokemon card distributor for France. But then they brought in buku euros of investment dollars from investors and sold the company in 2013 for 143 million euros. And then they went on a buying spree. They bought Days of Wonder, they bought Fantasy Flight, they bought Settlers of Catan, the game, they bought Z-Man games and a whole bunch of other stuff. Somehow they ended up with Diplomacy even. Then in 2018, they were acquired by a different investor group for 1.2 billion euros. And then this month, just finalized another buy from one investor group from another investor group for 2.75 billion euros. I mean, that's crazy. So let me tell you why I'm surprised by this, because like every time they bought companies, I remember thinking, how are they going to do a good job with so many titles? I mean, oftentimes when companies have a really big product line, it's really hard to do justice to a lot of the games in that line. And sure, some of the games for sure probably needed to be dropped, Cold the Ranks and all that. But you think about a lot of these franchises like Pandemic, like Ticket to Ride, like Settlers of Catan. These games are still doing well on the market. And Asmodee apparently has done a pretty good job with these acquisitions that they've made to see their market value continue to rise. And so I think that's pretty interesting. I also think it's good. I mean, this is like of course, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a capitalist side. Yes, I have a social justice side, but I have a capitalist side. And, this is how the economy works. When businesses buy other businesses, it gives exit strategies for investors. Types of investors trade, companies trade up in types of investors that have more money and are able to do bigger deals. And it also, it signals that our industry of tabletop games is really viable and interesting. That, previous big deals like Hasbro buying Wizards of the Coast, Games Workshop going public on the London Exchange way back when, those were not one-off things. Asmodee has built this big company by having a lot of great brands as opposed to like one big hit like Magic or Warhammer, and managing all these brands well. I'm sure they have all other sorts of distribution revenues and digital gaming revenues and stuff like this. But I don't know, I think it's kind of a great story, and I'm really happy for them. I mean, good job, guys.
Asmodee's put out a lot of really good stuff too, so I'm not worried at all that they're gonna continue to make great things. I mean, Terraforming Mars, Ticket to Ride. I mean, I could just go on and on.
It's also to say, like, for at least kind of putting a good like spin into this, is that as long as the Asmodee continues to have the quality that it has for the games, a lot of these are old titles that have not necessarily been like tossed to the side, but may have needed more general love. Sometimes merging these bigger companies with an older title is good, so it brings like, you can refresh the brand. And also, as this company grows, we can see more and more eyes are on it. Maybe that means like more expansion in terms of like, if they become a big enough company, maybe you get more digital copies of the games, or even spin-offs of TV shows that include said games. I don't know. I'm just thinking of the moon with my, hold on here. This is my conspiracy. I'm thinking of the moon, because like Disney, like for example, a company that's very similar of like Pac-Manning companies as Asmodee is the best way I could see it. Disney is kind of like those things, and you can see there's some good that comes out of it, some but at least new ideas are tried. It's a company that has money to try new ideas to see how like they can improve board games and expand that not genre. What am I thinking of? Title category? Yes, sure. So theories. I don't know. Never mind. I'm just crazy. Leave me
alone. Yeah, all I'm gonna say about this is I hope this brings us our Marvel Universe TTRPG sooner. And this, it's we're talking about people slinging 2.75 billion euros. So there's plenty of money in this space. So, just a friendly reminder, pay your artists. We're one step closer to everything being owned by one company. So I'm great. I'm excited about that. I'm ready to bow down to our Google overlords.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that it's definitely a different kind of direction, but they are a big company. I mean, I think if anybody's going to take on the responsibility, Asmodee can probably take it on for sure. But speaking of giants, I've got a headline here that I think you guys will be interested in. It's a new board game from the game devs over at the former game devs of Z-Man Games are now working on a Breath of the Wild inspired, Shadow of the Colossus inspired, large giant beast co-op board game. So it's called Leviathan Wilds. And later this year, they are going to be starting a crowdfunding campaign. And they're expecting to actually fully release it in 2023. But let me just give you a little bit of a rundown of how it's going to work. There is a lot of information in the Dicebreaker article if you want to check it out, but I'll just give you the bullet points. Basically, what you're doing is in this co-op game, you're basically just taking down giant beasts. So it's all about not just fighting, but also the climbing aspect and the sort of cooperative aspect of taking them down as a team, sort of coordinating your attacks in different areas and managing the different terrain types that you might find on the backs of these huge colossals. For instance, it actually breaks down the turn structure into 4 short steps. So what you've got is you reveal an event card, depending on what the Colossus is doing. Maybe it tries to attack you, or maybe it's doing a big stomp attack, jumping in the air and landing really hard. Then you take player actions, then you resolve the actual event, and then you draw additional cards. And this is intended to be a more simplified way of doing the co-op conflict sort of structure. In Breath of the Wild, you might remember that you have to manage a stamina bar. Depending on how much stamina you have left, you might fall off if you're not careful. Well, in this Leviathan Wilds, you get a small deck of grip cards. And at the start of each turn, you spend one to gain a number of action points that you can discard in order to gain additional effects during your turn. But if you run out, then you might fall off. And you move on this giant book of the Leviathan. It comes with 20, they're expecting 20 different huge Leviathans, these colossals, for you to encounter. And they're splashed all over this spiral bound book, kind of like the story games you might have seen in there's a few of them I can't remember off the top of my head. There's like patchwork story game. I can't remember. It was marketed for kids. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, the game is played on top of this giant book, so you can flip the pages and you get different grid squares to move across. While the scenario is played out horizontally, you can orient the book vertically for a taller ascent. So it's very interchangeable, very adaptable, depending on this different scenario. You move between the different squares on the book, spending action points to do different actions, like either moving extra spaces or making attacks and things like that. Or you can, jump greater distances by doing incredible feats of acrobatics and You can do cone-shaped downward glides that bypass dangers on squares that are like damage, thorns, or things that make you lose your grip, like ice or slippery parts of the Colossus. It looks like a very massive game, but what they're saying is that it's supposed to be a little bit more simplified. The team's previous work on Pandemic and Fantasy Flight games like the Star Wars Imperial Assault series is some of the inspiration that went behind all of this, all of the mechanics that they put into this game. It looks, well, massive. It looks like there's going to be a lot of content.
Oh no, it looks exciting. Nonetheless, I hope that maybe future plans they have a soundtrack that goes with it, because that's what I feel. If you talk about Shadow of the Colossus and like any of those types of like giant Leviathan, sorry, that's hard word, versus tiny person like yourself climbing up them, like you need combat music. Like the big book is an added bonus, but need combat music to go, for I'm not going to say what title I put it in chat, but da na 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 na. You need that kind of music.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Sorry.
Yeah, if you're a big fan of those giant, huge beasts in games like Shadow of the Colossus, this looks to be a pretty wild game. Speaking of wild games, Banzai, I believe you have another headline for us.
Hey, I like that. I like that segue. But also, hey, yes. All right. So this is a selfish title for myself, selfish news article, because this is one of my favorite games. It's Parks. Parks is getting a new expansion. It was just announced. So Keymaster Games just announced Parks Wildlife. So if you're not familiar, Parks itself, like here, it's like a educational board game that explores all the various different national parks throughout the world. It also accompanies beautiful artwork. You get to also learn a little bit about the various different wildlife preservations. Before, they also had an expansion of like nighttime parks that you could get. That was $25. This new expansion is going to be released this year, summer this year. It's about $20. It comes with, of course, new artwork, more parks, more gear and so more gear and canteens. Gear and canteens are things that you are, as a player, picking up to help you explore the parks better, because all you are supposed to be travelers going through all these various parks, trying to take pictures and try to be I guess the most life experiences. That's what you want. It's all about that experience, man. And depending on where you are, different seasons and different parts, you get to see different things and such. So one of the newer things that they're going to be adding, of course, all those extra gears. There's also going to be an extra feature as expansions, including numbers of parks that are now required. So you as yourself can go visit more parks. And also there's a mechanic of like having wildlife tokens. So at those new expansion parks, you get to place the wildlife tokens. It's very hard to explain this for people who haven't played the game. It's just really great. And it unlocks those parks for you. Another thing that I'm actually very excited to play is a new mechanic called Bury the Bison, which I hope they're going to have a stuffed animal for. It's a mechanic that shakes up this game, that every third time a person sees Bury the Bison, he just like, as bisons do, they just like herd as a giant herd and like refresh the gear that you can buy in the gear market, because like it can get stagnant as a mechanic of like, oh, nobody likes these gears, so we're just going to all leave them. This way people can at least refresh them and then spend all of their wildlife and resource tokens to get newer gear. It's just something that I'm geeking over. I love parks, and if you guys haven't played it, please do so. It's like 1 to 4 players. This is not a commercial. I just really like this game. I'm sorry, I'm so passionate. Parks.
Well, I got to add, I agree with you, Banzai. I think it's a fantastic game. Not only is it beautiful, not only is it about hiking in parks, which my wife and I just love to hike. It's one of our things. And it revisits the mechanic that I first saw in Takedo. I don't know if they deserve credit for inventing the mechanic where you basically get to choose how far you want to move each turn. But by doing so, then you let your opponent take more moves to catch up. And so I think I just find that a really delightful combination of mechanic and theme. And yeah, looking forward to it.
I've taught the game before. I haven't actually played it myself, but I definitely know firsthand how exciting the game can be, because at first glance it looks like there's a lot of components, it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's actually not that complicated. It's a really simple kind of game to play. And yeah, like you were saying, it's really pretty, and it definitely could use as much expansion content as possible, because it's definitely very expandable for sure.
Yeah, I have not played this game at all, but I gotta say, Banzai, your excitement makes me want to try it out again. Especially just slamming that box right in front of the camera. It's pretty dope.
Well, hopefully, maybe I could. Oh no! If I go to Gen Con and having to buy all the expansions, I'll have people play with me.
There is
I'll
no
play.
twist. We are playing.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't played this Noir? Let's play this game. Sorry.
Well, speaking of wildlife, we have some, let's say, unfortunate news for our fauna and plants. Noir, will you share with us some information?
Yeah, things get wild in the world of printing for sure. MCDM printed 20,000 books, unfortunately, with some pages missing. Good news is all of the standard books now come with a ribbon. A ribbon bookmark. It's a really thick book, so that's going to be very helpful. The bad news is that the printer ended up using an older layout file where the text was missing on page 25, which unfortunately affects all of the books. And since the amount of text actually pushes the rest of the pages onto the next page, it ends up impacting page 29 and 30 as well. Thankfully, only these pages are affected, and MCDM created a zip folder that includes pages 25, 29, and 30 that you can print out and insert in your book. They'll also be adding these files to the backer kit, so you'll get an email when that happens, and you can download them if the link does not work. So yeah, this is of course for the Kingdoms and Warfare Kickstarter. It's unfortunate news, but luckily they have a solution available rather quickly and in multiple formats. So you can print the page out yourself. It's unfortunate in game design. Things like this do unfortunately happen. However, if this game bangs, which it looks like it's going to, this will be a collector's item. So that's the optimistic view of it. But what about the rest of you? What do you all think about this news?
I actually backed it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
I actually backed the Kickstarter. I actually went through their MCDM website. It's actually, so Kingdoms and Warfare is not expansion. It adds on more not really character, but more GM options for the DM for running kingdoms and domains and patrons and things like that. So characters playing in parties can have sort of a patron that gives them special abilities, and the characters actually also get a pool of dice that they can use to add on extra damage or give themselves a little bit of a boost that they sort of share together, but also adds on mechanics for running warfare tactics. So running big, huge battles between two or more armies of large kingdoms. It adds on all of that material for D&D 5th edition games. And I actually got the PDF not very long ago, actually last year. And it's nice that, there are other versions to hold us over while we're waiting for the books. And it's good that they're aware of the issue. They're taking care of it on their own. It has been a while that we've been waiting for the books to come out, but that's nothing different than any other company who's been having shipping delays going on as well.
Yeah, the world's a little bit of a mess right now.
Yeah, kudos to the company for doing a makeup of this and really trying hard to do what they can to fix it. And I can offer some encouragement. We had a similar problem with Magic the Gathering. few card misprints in the first run, thus the whole alpha beta thing. And it's collectible. It can become a collectible.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll come up with some even more exciting ways to find some use to get out of the 20,000 books. Maybe they could just rip out the page and just graft an extra page inside it, and people will think it looks normal. I mean, it doesn't seem that hard. At the very least, you got a PDF that you can use anyway, right?
No, I'll just go ahead and jump in and give more kudos, because there are companies that just go, well, I'm sorry, misprint, tough lucks for you, peace out, 8 town down kind of the thing. But like I give them points that they are aware of the mistakes. They're making it very public that they're like, hey, this is a printing error, unfortunately, because of pandemic for the past 2 years has been happening. There's going to be mistakes. It's growing pains. And as you can see, since it's already so many people want and have been requesting these copies, there is a in the future, this will be collector's items that everybody will like. And also, hey, you know what? For those creative types, this might be a good opportunity to have a really cool bookbinding experiment go on. Maybe that's just my idea, especially for a game like this, to add a little bit more flavor and just actually bookbind and make it really nice as a happy little accident, but yes, thank you for owning up to your mistakes, friends. And I hope that this, they learn from this and can make all the better qualities and improvements afterwards.
Yeah, Matthew Colville is awesome. MCDM as a company, very, very awesome, very reliable. I have no doubt that things are going to only get better from here. Nowhere to go but up, right? Well, that's going to do it for our headlines today. And we're going to move right on into everybody's favorite section of the episode. Bundle Boss, led by Peter Adkison.
I know, I'm so excited I get to be the bundle boss this year, this episode.
Hopefully more than once this year.
Oh my God, did I just sign up for a whole year?
Oh no.
Well, you stuck now. Yes.
Yeah, the permanent bundle boss.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this comes from Blue Planet, the Blue Planet Classic. So they have resurrected their bundle boss opportunity from May 2016. And so they're new. This is a Blue Planet, by the way, is the Biohazard Games tabletop science fiction role-playing game about exploration and conflict on the ocean world of Poseidon. Okay, so the way this works is that you pay $14.95, and this includes Blue Planet First Edition, Blue Planet Second Edition, Player's Guide, Fluid Mechanics, Ancient Echoes, and Undercurrents. That sounds a bit sciencey. That sounds cool. So that's a retail value of $52.50. Now, if you pay more than that of $25.65, you'll also get the Blue Planet 2E Moderator's Guide, the First Colony, Frontier Justice, Natural Selection, Archipelago, Access, Denied, GM Screen. Yeah. Okay. So now, when I signed up to cover the bundle boss, I said, okay, I have to confess, I don't really understand how these things work. So in case you missed the episode where this was explained, let me run it through. So the way this works is that there's a charity element to this. And so, yes, you pay $14.95, but you can volunteer to pay more. And 10% of all the money that they get goes to in this case, the Ocean Conservancy, which works to protect the ocean from today's greatest global challenges by creating science-based solutions for a healthy ocean. I mean, who doesn't want that? And wildlife communities that depend on it. Okay, so if you can pay more, and if you pay up to the 25 or more than the 25.65, then you get the extra stuff. But you can pay 50, you can pay 100, and all that money, all the 10% of it at least goes to the Ocean Conservancy. So check it out. It's a good deal.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, Noir, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and if you don't partake in this, it's like you're punching the ocean yourself.
Oh, jeez.
And you know what happens when you punch the ocean? Poseidon comes after you, and he sticks Neptune on you, and who knows? Oh my gosh, the Kraken. I mean,
You just want to sad turtles. Sad turtles. You're making turtles cry. That's what's happening. Turtles are crying because you're not supporting.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Thank you to our figurative and literal boss, Bundle Boss Peter. And that is going to lead us into the Kickstarter regions. We've got some Kickstarters that we have rounded up for y'all today, and we're going to tell you about them. And I get the privilege of going first. I am super excited to tell you about my first Kickstarter here. Fire in the Hole! It's the Plundering Pirate game. This Kickstarter is a game of skill and scavenge, which centers around a large pop-up ship made entirely out of biodegradable materials. No plastic, literally 100% plastic free, and it's very, very sturdy. They play tested it over 100 times using children, coffee tables, and lots of spillable mugs and cups and cats and all manner of wacky things that might tear it up. So you know that you're going to get some quality, very long-lasting, reusable pirate pop-up ships. In this game, you're going to play a card and then roll some dice, and then you're going to toss cannonballs into the ship, trying to go for Connect 4. And there's lots and lots of different cards that you can play. Some of them you can use just to give yourself a little bit of a boost. Some of them are for sabotaging other people. You can switch colors with somebody else so that you're in the best position to get as many marbles, cannonballs, in a connected grid of 4 or more together at one time, so you can win the game. They this company that is putting on this Kickstarter is very, very dedicated to green materials. They had they got themselves certified by a carbon neutral company, Climate Partner. They are also working on a forest protection project in Para, Brazil. They are very, very dedicated to making sure that they have the smallest carbon footprint possible. So if you check out this Kickstarter, you jump in on the early bird, it's still going right now. You save $6 on getting the full game. You also can pay just a little bit more and you get the Salty Dog expansion that's spelled with 3 X's because it adds on a drinking expansion, so you can turn it into a drinking game. But you can also get the Salty Dog comes with a method of playing that's for the people who are sober, and you still want to play a drinking game, but you're drinking like water, or apple juice, or not even drinking at all. You can also get a bunch of upgraded materials through the First Mate edition or the Quartermaster edition, which comes with the booty bag, which I can only assume is upgraded bags like neoprene or something like that to help you carry all those massive cannonballs, because you just can't be carrying them all in your arms; they'll all fall out. So check out the Kickstarter. It ends in 21 days. You still got plenty of time, but that early bird is when you want to get in on before it's too late. The next Kickstarter here is called Rumors and Legends. Rumors and Legends is a mystery game, similar to some of the other sort of like Clue type games you might have played. It features a cast of creepy creatures and cryptids like the Sasquatch and the Loch Ness Monster, but you're also finding yourself on many different world-spanning adventures in strange and legendary locations like the Himalayas, Roswell, New Mexico. Ooh. But you're also trying desperately not to get lost in the Bermuda Triangle. This game spans all over the world. You're investigating the disappearance of Professor Daffle, the world's leading researcher of cryptozoology. The game is very surprisingly light. You can learn it in about 10 to 15 minutes, but it only takes about half an hour or a little bit more, maybe close to like 45 minutes on average to play. So it's really easy to toss out onto the table, even though it's got a lot of depth to it, because of course, any deduction or mystery based game, you're going to get pamphlets and books and lots of reading to do. But what's great is that it uses a dice mechanic similar to Clue, that helps you determine your next move. So you might be moving your miniature a number of spaces, or drawing extra rumor cards to get more information, moving the door miniatures that they have on the game board, or even moving to the Bermuda Triangle just to end your turn, because as they stated, you can get lost in this game. It looks like a game where you can really dive in headfirst and find yourself in lots and lots of replayable content So many different mysteries. Definitely check out Rumors and Legends if you get a chance to check out this Kickstarter. It ends on March 24th. It's only 6 days. So definitely check out Rumors and Legends. Those are my Kickstarters for the Kickstarter Regent. And Banzai, I believe, has a Kickstarter for us as well. Go for it, Banzai.
Hello, dear friends. Have you ever thought of, you know what? I really like this GM, but we got a white elephant gift. What should I do as a kind of thank you present that isn't just dice? Well, do I have the sell for you? It's called Gloomy Caverns. It has 10 days left, ends March 28th, Monday. It's a kind of gift box, I would like to say. It's like a little gift box that has polyhedral dice, a scented candle that is the scent of a torchlight, and a vial full of matches to go with the candle. And it has a set of lore cards that are provided with random encounters. So what I mean by lore cards and random encounters, so it kind of helps as prompts for that DM and GM in your life that needs little fun little cards in case oh, you decided to not do the get quest that they try to so hard prepare for, but decided to go on the NPC side quest that nobody was thinking was going to be a side quest anyway. So they have to pull something out of air to do. So it's it adds little prompt cards, NPCs and locations that you might need in any given situation. It's what I think is a great idea for a little white elephant gift for your gaming group, or just a small token of appreciation to give to your special DM or GM. I honestly just also like the idea of pull your own adventure deck, you don't have that much setup, especially if you want to try to more GM-less game. I like the idea of that. And also, I'm a really big nerd for candles and dice. And when I can merge the two together, they also have a lot of companies that have you can get different mystery dice out of bath bombs and candles and scented stuff. I like those. And also, it's good for a thematicness. So if those little tidbits go, ooh, in your little gremlin mind, this is the game for you, or the package for you. Gloomy Caverns ends March 28th. Go ahead and check it out. Yeah.
Thank you, Banzai. All right, and for our last Kickstarter, Noir, send us away.
All right, I'm going to make this quick. This is the Combat Compendium, a Dungeon Master's tool. I am a huge fan of the having everything you need in a container that looks like a book genre of accessories. And this is one more in that, guys. The standard size compendium comes with an embedded magnetic initiative tracker. You can have your choice of leather, brown, gray, or red, and it can be upgraded with a metallic touch or your own hand-painted galaxy leather. Inside, it has box inserts with 25 millimeter easy to pick up creature tokens, accompanying initiative tracker tokens, space for up to 6 hit point trackers, and a space to store one set of dice. Tokens are two sets of numbers 1 through 6, so you'll be able to easily tag and track your monsters. One of the messiest parts of D&D is keeping track of combat, and this is a all-in-one tool set guide to help you with that. Inside, it also has little tags to let you know if your creatures or your players are grappled, restrained, stunned, and all of the other conditions there. And it comes in this cool little looking book, so buy it. The Kickstarter ends April 3rd, 2022.
All right, and that's gonna do it for the Kickstarter Regent. And that's also going to do it for this episode of TableTakes. But before we go, I really quickly wanted to ask all of y'all in the audience, what D&D classes do you think we would be in? I know Banzai has some theories about which D&D classes all of us would be. Banzai, what were you thinking? And don't forget to include our wonderful producer, Marcus, as well.
Oh, yes. So if you guys didn't see my tweet, I have labeled everybody as various different playable characters. So Noir is going to be our bard. Because he's got the pipes. He's also
got the soundboard. Yeah.
I don't see it. No, I'm just kidding.
Javion is our paladin, our noblest, the truest, who will fight for us to the very end. Totally in
agree.
his paladin romper. And then the wise Peter Adkison, of course, is our wizard with all of his great knowledge and lore. Give us all the details. And then Marcus from behind the scenes is our rogue. You can't see him, but you know he's there. He will get you. So, and me, of course, I am the barbarian. Why? Although I'm the smallest person in the group, that makes it easier for me to aim for your knees and ankles.
I think Planner Knight in the chat was thinking that Marcus would be a wizard, which I also makes sense for sure. Although I'm thinking maybe more sorcerer. Yeah, I was thinking
sorcerer.
that too.
Because there's a bit of like darkness in Marcus that feeds.
And who knows how he does what he does?
Yeah.
You can't replicate his magic.
I mean, you nailed it, Banzai. Wizards have always been my favorite character class. And when I play Magic the Gathering, I love to play blue. So, yes.
I mean, that's because blue is objectively the best color, though.
Well, I could make a case for red, or I'm sure Banzai
but you
has
would be wrong, though.
Banzai has a strong opinion about this, I'm sure.
Orange is the best color, y'all. What is in both sunsets and sunrises? Orange.
Well, hey, what color is the sky that the sun rises and sunset happens in? That would be blue. Just saying.
Okay. Well, thank you to all of our colorful hosts and co-hosts today for joining us on this episode of TableTakes. That's going to do it for us today. Make sure you stick around later today at 5 p.m. We've got Sarah's table playing Savage Sisters, a narrative sword and sorcery TTRPG about women making a difference in a barbaric world. Sounds familiar? Does your heart beat faster at the mention of Xena, warrior princess, Red Sonja? Do you long for tales of mighty women facing insurmountable odds? Savage Sisters might be the right game for you. Join Sarah around the table today at 5 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget, every Monday at 4 p.m. we got the board game with the Brothers Murph. And Tuesdays, Kathy Paints, where you can watch Kathy paint miniatures and teach you a little something in the process. We also got every Wednesday at 6 p.m. we got Actor Roki, and join us next week at 2 p.m. as always for another episode of TableTakes. Thank you once again to all of our wonderful viewers, all of my colorful co-hosts. And remember, if you miss any of our programming, you can check out the VODs here on Twitch or on YouTube tomorrow, one day after our videos.
Can I add something real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Also next week on Thursday and Saturday and Sunday, we will be streaming live Actoroki from GaryCon. So we'll have an Actoroki slam. We do the entire cycle that normally takes 3 weeks. We do it in 4 days. It's mayhem.
Yeah, and if you don't know already, Actoroki is where we do live D&D. Well, not we, Peter. And the rest of Chaldea Studios puts on some live D&D and then hires some actors to reenact it. It's so cool. Definitely follow us here at Gen Con TV so you don't miss it. And that's just going to do it for us today. I hope you all had a wonderful time. I know I did, and I can't wait to see you again next week. Goodbye, everybody. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.